Yo, what's up? Ogechi here, aka Oaghaji, back in the building with another video, and it's time for another review. Now, before I begin, just want to let y'all know, like I usually do, that if y'all hear any talk in the background, noises and whatnot, that's my family, alright? Even though it's quiet right now, I just want to give y'all a heads up as usual, just in case y'all hear all that noises and whatnot. Anyways, with that out of the way, let's begin this review. Now, today's review is going to be on the 5th or 6th story arc in the北斗の拳, aka Fist of the North Star manga series, created by Buronson and Tetsuo Hara from 1983, the Jagi arc. Now, this particular story arc picks up after the Fang Clan arc, which I reviewed yesterday. As we know, Kenshiro Toda, knew that, as is revealed, that the man with the 7 scars that kidnapped Irie, Rei's sister, was none other than Jagi, Kenshiro's older brother. Now, since he knows this, he decided to leave Mamiya's village to search for Jagi. And throughout his journey, he finds out that, Jagi has been using his name to wreak havoc and cause a lot of injustice, you know what I'm saying? Basically trying to ruin Kenshiro's rap, since Kenshiro became known for defeating the Z Gang, Shin, as well as the Fang Clan and the Golden Army and whatnot. So Jagi wanted to tarnish his name. And a lot of it has to do with their past, right? So, which I will get to in a minute. In the village, he finds that, the village is being, oppressed by one of his, Jagi's men, and they use this big saw, you know what I'm saying? So, they try to kill one of the villagers, and they try to force the villagers to kill each other with the saw. That's, just want to make sure I got that right. Kenshiro walks in and puts a stop to that, and uses that same saw on one of the thugs. Now, that is a reference to the Bruce Lee film, The Big Boss, back in 1971 from Golden Harvest back in Hong Kong. In that film, Bruce Lee uses, a saw in the ice factory fight scene, right? But a part of that was cut, but there are pictures where, the saw has cut in the head of one of the thugs that Bruce Lee fights in that film. And that particular Hong Kong Kung Fu film was the film that made Bruce Lee a martial arts movie star in Hong Kong at the time, especially with Golden Harvest, you know what I'm saying? It was a successful film for Bruce Lee and Golden Harvest, so just want to let you know that, it's a reference to Bruce Lee anyways. And the thugs find out that he has 7 scars, and he tells them that the real identity of the criminal is Jagi, his older brother. He takes care of the thugs, and one of them tried to kill him using some Hokuto Shinken against him, but as y'all know, it didn't work. He still ventures out throughout, the post-apocalyptic land, trying to, put it end to Jagi's reign, and he finds out one of the brothers, finds out that Jagi uses some mind control on some kids, specifically the brother, you know what I'm saying, and he manipulates there's like 2 kids, they're brothers, right, and Jagi uses one of them for his brainwashing by hitting one of his pressure points, and the other he decides to have him be a slave, and you know what I'm saying, and luckily, Kenshiro saves one of the brothers that has been worked as a slave, and he stopped, and the other brother shoots an arrow. Kenshiro stops it, and, and he frees the brother from the brainwashing, basically, and reunites them. And he basically saved the village and the thugs and whatnot. He defeated the thugs, and the guy that used the Hokuto Shinken, tried to use the Hokuto Shinken against him, that's the village. Sorry for y'all for that mistake, I thought there was, it's this village in particular, so my bad, y'all. Since he did all this, he said, it's time to, get rid of Jagi. And there's a flashback where Kenshiro and Jagi train under their adoptive father, Ryuken, the 62nd successor of Hokuto Shinken, And as we can see, Jagi is pretty ruthless. He's not afraid to use deadly tactics to win. And he tried to use the Hokuto Senjutsu against Kenshiro to attack his pressure points. But unfortunately for Jagi, and Jagi was boasting, bragging about, he's the real successor and whatnot. But Ryuken called him a fool and tell him to look at his body, and it's like Kenshiro struck all of his pressure points. Which shows that Kenshiro is definitely the right candidate to be the successor of Hokuto Shinken, and Ryuken knew this. And Ryuken asked, Kenshiro why he showed mercy to Jagi, because he's his brother. And Ryuken tells him that will, come back to haunt him, which, unfortunately, Ryuken was right. And so Kenshiro decided to make things right, you know what I'm saying? And along the way, he was able to arrive at Jagi's hideout. And he finds out that one of Jagi's men got killed by him after seeing Jagi's, face, you know what I'm saying? And Jagi is just laughing maniacally, and he was waiting for the outcome to kill Kenshiro. And Kenshiro tells him to choose a place to die, and they have their match. And Jagi pulls out his gun, and Kenshiro wasn't surprised that, this is Jagi we're talking about, right? Using guns and darts and all that. But, Jagi decided to tell Kenshiro to follow him, which they did. And Lin is worried about Kenshiro, which is understandable because, went on his own. But he's a grown man. He can take care of himself, especially that nigga Jagi. Anyways, Kenshiro and Jagi reminisce about what happened. Then we have another flashback where Jagi's man tells him that Kenshiro is named the 64th successor. Now, I made a mistake of Ryuken is the 63rd successor of Hokuto Shinken, while his brother Kenshiro Katsumi is the 62nd successor in Sultan no Ken, aka Fist of Blue Sky. My bad, y'all. I'm doing this off the cuff, as y'all can tell. Anyway, Jagi was pissed that Kenshiro was named the successor. He tried to tell, and he asked, what did his brother say? And they tell him they didn't say anything, and Jagi became even more pissed because of that. Jagi yells and asks him why they didn't say anything. They tell him that he's the younger brother, that he's inferior, he's not fit to be a successor. Tell him that, that Hokuto Shinken can only have one successor. After the people that fail to become successor, they either are refused to practice or not allowed to practice anymore. They either have their fists sealed or their memory wiped. That's always been the law and the fate of Hokuto Shinken's 1800-year history, or 2,000-year history in the anime adaptation, but in the manga it's the 1800-year history, especially since it was created during the Three Kingdoms era of ancient China during the Yellow Turban Rebellions. So Jagi got pissed and he said, I'm going to sell this, and I'm not going to tolerate it. So he tried to go to Kenshiro. One of the brothers said that Jagi can't defeat Kenshiro. However, Kenshiro can't kill Jagi, and said that their father made a mistake. That this is the end of Hokuto Shinken's 1800-year history. Then we cut to Kenshiro and reminiscing about Ryuken's words about how Hokuto Shinken can only have one successor due to it being a deadly assassination martial art, and should be used for good and should not be used for evil, or else the world will be doomed. Jagi pulls a gun on Kenshiro and tells him to sit down, and he asks Kenshiro to tell his father that he refused to be a successor, and Kenshiro stays silent, refuses. Jagi got angry, decided to hit him with his gun. You know what I'm saying? And he says, "How dare you, be disrespectful towards your older brother?" And it's like, and Kenshiro's like, "Why are you using guns and darts? Why don't you use your fists?" And Jagi said, "Fuck that. You got to use everything you can to win. If he becomes successful, Hokuto Shinken will become successful." And Kenshiro, as we know, wasn't having all that nonsense, all that bullshit that this nigga Jagi was spitting. So he decided to grab his face and tell him that's enough. And Jagi, being Jagi, decided, I'm gonna kill your ass. And then he slipped. And Kenshiro definitely gave him an ass whipping. He was about to deliver the finishing blow, but stopped and shows him mercy. And tells Jagi to go. You're not fit to be a successor. And Jagi, said, you know what? You're going to regret this for showing mercy. I'm going to kill you one day. And that was true. And we cut back to the present, and Kenshiro tells him that, how Jagi was using his name to commit a lot of evil acts. And Jagi's, confirmed it. And he was glad to, you know what I'm saying? And Kenshiro pulls out the arrow, which belonged to the brother that he brainwashed to kill him. And, and Jagi, mocks Kenshiro's softness, and what of it? It doesn't compare to the pain that I felt. And he reveals his face. That, he has his face having with these metal plates and whatnot covering his face, you know what I'm saying? And to keep his face intact, his head intact from exploding and whatnot. And he's been thinking his way to have his revenge. He said that Kenshiro's about to die, that last time his foot slipped. And he told him he was about to have the same face as his. And Kenshiro tells him that he didn't slip, that he struck Jagi's pressure point and made him lose balance on his feet. And he told him that he regrets showing mercy to him. And he says he's about to, wash that regret away. And Jagi decided to put his helmet back on and decided to fight and say, you know what, I ain't gonna use my gun. And so, Jagi uses the Hokuto Kungeki, or the North Star Art Hat attack on him. And Kenshiro dodges all this, and Jagi wanted to spare some darts to use against him, but Kenshiro saw that, blocks it, and gives him some of that Hokuto Hyakuritsuken, or the North Star 100-crack fist on him. And Jagi was shocked. It's like, this is impossible, And Kenshiro told him, hey, use your gun. And Jagi, played the bait and said, yeah, I'm going to use your gun, prepare to die. However, the gun points at Jagi, and it's like he lost control of his arm. He told him, hey, Kenshiro, you better let it go, or else you're going to shoot. And Jagi struck a pressure point on his arm to free him, to free his hand from the gun. And Jagi was surprised. It's like, you're not the same Kenshiro that I knew. What changed you? And Kenshiro told him that the blood of his former friend turned rival changed him. The blood of the friends have changed him. And Jagi realized that Kenshiro was talking about Shin. And he laughs. And Kenshiro tells him that this is it. This is the end for you. And Jagi said, no, you too. Oh, we'll see about that. You're too soft. Jagi punches, the gas. The pipe that has gasoline on it, which is the hell. And he explains the reason why he chose the heliport as their battlefield, because it has gasoline. He's going to burn Kenshiro to a crisp. And Kenshiro told him, hey, you still don't get it. You're the one that's going to die. And Jagi tells him that hey, before you die, I'm going to tell you something. Your friend Shin, the one who turned him into the dark side, was me. And Kenshiro was shocked. Then we cut to the flashback that Jagi was brainwashing and manipulating Shin into taking Yuria from Kenshiro. And then Kenshiro was like, so you used Shin against me? And Jagi said yes. And he laughed. So how is it? And Kenshiro was distraught. He said it was all because of Jagi. He lost his best friend Shin, as well as the love of his life, Yuria. And this brought Kenshiro into a rage. He yelled in rage and ripped off his shirt and uses his bare fist to punch the ground of the heliport and shaking the whole thing. And both fighters fell. And Jagi survived, barely. And it's like, what a monster. And he sees Kenshiro with a lot of rage. And it's like Jagi's trying to run, and Kenshiro told him, hey, that this is the place you will die. And then Jagi came up with a surprise attack, slicing Kenshiro's face. And he was trying to finish him off with the strike. And that's when Kenshiro realizes that Jagi was using Nanto Seiken, and he asked Kenshu, and he asked Jagi where did he learn it, and Jagi said, "Hey, I ain't gonna answer the song, explain the song who's gonna die." He decided to use the Nanto Seiken technique on Kenshiro again, but Kenshiro blocks it with his elbow and gives him a nice, fresh kick to the face. And he tells Jagi that his slow Nanto Seiken won't kill him. And then Kenshiro said that these 4 blows are dedicated for the people that you hurt. It's the people that you hurt. And through your evil schemes. And Jagi wasn't hearing none of it. And he said, and the first blow that, first attack that Kenshiro gives says it's for Shin and his friend. And then he tells him that his Nanto Seiken is nothing compared to Shin's. And then Jagi said, well, how about this little boulder here? And he smashed him. It's like, it didn't work at all. And Kenshiro tells him that you've forgotten one of the essence of Hokuto Shinken, that rage turns your body into steel. And he told him that the next attack is going to be for who else? Yuria. And, and Jagi was scared. He tried to use anything he can to fight back. But once he touches a spear, he screams like, ah! And then he realizes that Kenshiro uses the Hokuto Shinken Ogi Suyeiko. He said yes, which Kenshiro struck the Ryugan pressure point, and now he can only feel nerves within his body. And Kenshiro touches him, and Jagi yells and screams. And Kenshiro says that the third attack is going to be for the 2 brothers, where he has this little arrow, and he pierced that arrow down to Jagi's chest, and Jagi screams in pain. And then Kenshiro says the last one is for taking everything from me. And this is my rage. And Kenshiro gave him a good old-fashioned punch to Jagi's face, breaking Jagi's helmet. Boom, and then boom, right to the wall. And then Jagi faces a painful death. His little thing clips out, and his head is about to explode. Kenshiro tells him that an ugly death fits a monster like him. Tells him that in a few seconds that his body will disappear, that it's over. And Jagi tells him that it ain't over. Your journey to hell has just begun. And tell him that you've forgotten that you have 2 older brothers. Kenshiro is shocked at this, and Jagi says, I wonder what kind of hell awaits you. And afterwards, his body explodes. Jagi is dead, with Kenshiro surprised that the 2 other older brothers are still alive. And that concludes the Jagi arc. Now, I gotta say, this is an awesome story arc. You know what I'm saying? It's just fantastic. You can tell that Buronson definitely stepped it up with the writing, and Tetsuo Hara stepped it up with the art. As always, it's just awesome. The storytelling, the characters, chef's kiss. On top of that, the action is just phenomenal. Jagi is an awesome villain in this arc, you know what I'm saying? And Buronson said that Jagi is his favorite character, and you know what? I can definitely see why, because Jagi, he is one hell of an evil villain, just straight up evil to the core. I've always said that if you're going to do a straightforward villain character, you got to make sure that the execution is on point. Otherwise, that straightforward villain isn't worth invested in. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with the straightforward hero. You feel me? And the execution for Jagi was definitely on point. Shout outs to the OG Buronson for this. You know what I'm saying? So overall, the Jagi art is a great step up to the previous arcs. You know what I'm saying? It definitely succeeds the Fan Clan arc by far, you know what I'm saying? It definitely gets a 5 out of 5 for sure. Hopefully you'll enjoy this review. I apologize that it's a long review, but there's a lot of stuff to talk about in this story arc, you feel me? So I had to do it. So let me know what y'all think about the Jagi arc in the Fist of the North Star manga in the comments below. If y'all read it already, if y'all like this video, y'all can hit that like button and share it. If y'all enjoy this type of content, y'all can subscribe to the channel and hit that bell to keep y'all notified on the uploads, you feel me? And y'all can also follow me in my other social media accounts. And stay tuned for more other reviews and more other videos along the way. So with all that said, this is your boy, Ogechi Aghaji, aka Oaghaji, aka the Pervy Sensei, signing out. Peace.